Once upon a time, in a quaint little town nestled between rolling hills and deep dark woods, there stood an old, weathered house known as Holloway Manor. This ancient structure loomed on the outskirts of town, its silhouette sharp against the twilight sky, casting long shadows that danced eerily on the ground. The townsfolk whispered about the manor, sharing tales of strange occurrences and ghostly apparitions that roamed its halls, sending shivers down the spine of even the bravest souls. The legend of Holloway Manor began many years prior, when the Holloway family resided there. They were a joyful family, filled with laughter and love until tragedy struck one stormy night. A fierce tempest raged outside, lightning splitting the sky and illuminating the landscape in blinding flashes. The wind howled like a banshee, rattling windows and shaking the very foundations of the house. That night, young Eliza Holloway, the youngest of the family, went missing. Despite extensive searching by her heartbroken family and the townspeople, she was never found. As days turned into weeks and weeks into months, the Holloway family fell into despair. The laughter that once filled the home faded into echoes of sorrow, and the vibrant manor became a shell of its former self. Eventually, the Holloways left, abandoning their home to the whispers of the wind and the encroaching vines that claimed it as their own. Years later, the tales of the manor grew into a tapestry of fear and intrigue. Some claimed that Eliza's spirit wandered the halls searching for her family, while others insisted that a darker force had taken root in the manor, a force that thrived on despair. The townsfolk often spoke of the whispers that could be heard on moonlit nights, soft and sorrowful, calling out for help, begging to be heard. One crisp autumn evening, a curious boy named Tommy, emboldened by the stories he had heard from friends, decided to explore the manor. His heart raced with a mix of excitement and dread. Armed with nothing but a flashlight and his courage, he crept through the rustling leaves and toward the looming silhouette of Holloway Manor, its broken windows resembling hollow eyes staring into the night. As he approached, the air grew colder, a biting chill that seemed to wrap around him like a shroud. An uneasy feeling settled in his stomach, but Tommy brushed it aside, determined to uncover the truth behind the whispers. The front door creaked open as if inviting him in, and he hesitated for just a moment before stepping inside. Crossing the threshold felt like stepping into another world, a world where time had frozen and the past lingered like a ghostly fog. Inside, the air was thick with dust and the scent of lavender, a remnant of Eliza's favorite perfume, hung faintly in the air. Shadows stretched and twisted across the walls, and Tommy felt a prickling sensation on the back of his neck, as though unseen eyes were watching him. He ventured deeper into the manor, each creaking floorboard echoing like a whisper in the darkness, amplifying the eerie silence. As he wandered through the dimly lit rooms, he noticed the walls adorned with old portraits of the Holloway family. Their painted eyes seemed to follow him, filled with an emotion he couldn't quite decipher. Sadness, longing. He could almost hear their whispers carried by the wind. Eliza, Eliza. The voices seemed to call, growing louder and more insistent, a haunting chorus that sent a shiver down his spine. Tommy entered the parlor, where a grand piano sat silent in the corner, draped in a thick layer of dust. Suddenly, the keys began to play softly on their own, a haunting melody that sent chills racing down his spine. The sound was both beautiful and terrifying, wrapping around him like an eerie embrace. He felt an overwhelming urge to follow the music, which led him to the staircase. The stairs creaked ominously under his weight as he ascended, the melody growing louder with each step, beckoning him closer to the heart of the manor. At the top of the stairs, Tommy found a door slightly ajar, a sliver of light spilling out into the dark hallway. The music poured from the room, sweet and sorrowful. Gathering all his courage, he pushed the door open, revealing a scene that took his breath away. Inside, the room was bathed in a soft, ethereal glow that seemed to pulsate with life. At the center stood a figure, a young girl with flowing hair and a white dress, her face a mixture of sadness and kindness. Tommy's heart raced. "Who are you?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper, trembling with anticipation. "I am Eliza," she replied, her voice like a gentle breeze that soothed his frayed nerves. "I've been waiting for someone to hear me." Tommy's mind raced, the weight of her sorrow pressing down on him. "What happened to you?" he asked, his curiosity tinged with fear. Eliza's eyes filled with sorrow, shimmering like the stars. "On that stormy night, I got lost in the woods. I wandered too far and couldn't find my way back. My family searched for me, but they never found me. I am trapped here, bound to this house until someone can help me find peace." Tommy felt a surge of empathy and fear for this lost girl. "How can I help you?" he asked, wanting desperately to ease her suffering. "Listen to the whispers of the shadows," she said, her voice growing softer, almost as if the shadows themselves were listening. "They will guide you. But beware, for there are those who wish to keep me here." Just then the room grew cold and Tommy felt a presence behind him, a dark shadow moving, threatening to consume the light in the room. He turned slowly, dread pooling in his stomach. A figure loomed larger, its features indistinguishable, a black silhouette that seemed to bend and twist as it approached. The temperature dropped rapidly and a heavy darkness filled the air, suffocating and thick. "Leave this place," Pruitt growled, its voice like thunder rumbling through the sky, reverberating in Tommy's bones. "She belongs to me." Tommy's instincts kicked in and his heart raced like a wild animal. He remembered the townsfolk's stories about the power of love and remembrance. "Eliza," he shouted, his voice steadying with resolve. "You are not alone. Your family loves you and will always remember you." The shadow paused, its form flickering as if caught in a tempest. Eliza's expression shifted from fear to a glimmer of hope, her light shimmering with renewed strength. "You must show them the way," she urged, her voice rising above the darkness. "Remind them of the love we shared." With a deep breath, Tommy took Eliza's hand together. They confronted the shadow. "We will not let you take her," he declared, his voice echoing in the chamber. The room filled with warmth as the shadows began to retreat, their whispers turning into cries of despair. The dark figure writhed and twisted, its form flickering like a candle in the wind. "You cannot save her," it screeched, but Tommy could feel the strength of Eliza's spirit beside him, fueling his courage. "Love transcends darkness," he shouted, feeling a surge of determination. "You have no power here." With one final push of love and defiance, the shadow shrieked, a sound so piercing it rattled the walls. It began to dissipate, retreating into the corners of the room until it was nothing but a fading whisper, an echo of a forgotten nightmare. In that moment, the manor transformed. The once dark corners brightened and the heavy air lifted, filled with the sweet scent of lavender. The whispers turned into joyous laughter, and Tommy felt a wave of peace wash over him. Eliza's spirit began to glow with a radiant light, illuminating the room with warmth and love. "Thank you, brave boy," she said, her voice now a melody of happiness. "I can finally go home." As Eliza's spirit faded into the light, the manor felt alive again, filled with warmth and the echoes of a family reunited. Tommy stepped outside, looking back at the manor, now radiant under the moonlight. He knew he had freed Eliza, bringing closure to the Holloway family's heartache. From that day on, the townsfolk spoke of Tommy not just as a brave boy, but as a hero who listened to the whispers of the shadows and helped a lost soul find her way home. And though the manor stood empty, it was no longer a place of fear, but a symbol of love that transcended even the darkest of nights. As you lay down to sleep, remember this: love is a powerful force, and sometimes it can bridge the gap between this world and the next. Good night, dear one. Dream of brave adventures and gentle spirits, and know that you are never truly alone.